Hi there, welcome to this course, Production Ready Serverless. Now, AWS Lambda has changed the way that we deploy and run software, but this new paradigm has also created new challenges to old problems. For example, how do you test a cloud-hosted function locally? And how do you monitor it? What about logging and config management? And how do you start migrating from existing architectures? AWS Lambda and other similar serverless technologies are still maturing, and the tools and practices around this new space are lagging far behind existing microservices architectures. Most of these problems can be solved with relative ease. However, there is a lack of off-the-shelf solutions so that everyone is building their own, and whilst there are plenty of materials out there on getting you started working with AWS Lambda, I find there's very little structured content on helping you tackle those operational challenges when using AWS Lambda at scale. The purpose of this course is to fill that gap and provide a holistic view of the challenges that you face as you start to build an expensive serverless architecture, as well as some of the solutions to some of these challenges. This course will focus on the operational aspects of working with AWS Lambda, and you'll lean heavily on emerging practices and technologies that I have identified through personal experience as well as my research. And I hope these ideas will help prepare you for running a serverless architecture responsibly in production. To me, Ops is the umbrella term for everything that related to keeping your system operational and performing within acceptable parameters. Now, this responsibility of keeping the system up and running will always exist, regardless whether your software is running on virtual machines in the cloud, on on-premises hardware, or as Lambda functions. It is therefore in the interest of anyone who is either using Lambda today or is considering AWS Lambda for future projects to really understand the operational challenges with this new paradigm of developing and running software and how to go about tackling those challenges. This is the mental model I'd like you to keep in mind as we go through the course. That even with the power of the event-driven programming model and the scalability and the cost efficiency that comes with AWS Lambda, in order to reach the holy grail, which is to deliver some actual business value at the end of it all, we still have to make sure that our system is operationally sound. That means we have an automated process for deploying changes, the business use cases are covered by automated tests, we're able to debug and monitor the system, and we are alerted when the performance of the system degrades beyond acceptable limits. We're able to easily tune the behavior of the system via configuration, and the system is secure from common attacks, and sensitive user data are protected both at rest and in transit. My name is Yan Cui. I'm your instructor for this course. I'm a software engineer and architect with more than a decade of experience working in a number of different industries, from investment banks, e-commerce, mobile games to social networks. I have worked in startups as well as the regulated enterprise environment. I have worked with AWS in the production for nearly 10 years. In the last 18 months, I have worked extensively with AWS Lambda in production. When I was working at Yabo, a social network startup, I migrated a large monolithic backend system for our social network to run on AWS Lambda whilst moving to a service-oriented and event-driven architecture. I regularly speak about AWS Lambda at conferences and user groups, and I run training sessions and I share my experience through blog posts as much as I can. And I occasionally consult with companies that are at the start of their journey to serverless as well. In this course, I'm going to share my experience with you by building an e-commerce site with you from scratch, with plenty of code demos that you can follow along. You will learn how to create and deploy APIs with API Gateway and Lambda, and how to implement authentication with Cognito. We'll process events in real time with Kinesis and Lambda, and I'll show you how to locally run and debug your Lambda functions, how to write automated tests for them, and how to set up a continuous integration and delivery pipeline for all our functions. You'll learn how to collect logs with log aggregation service, and how to monitor your Lambda functions with CloudWatch and OwlPipe. We use AWS X-Ray to help us trace our functions and identify performance problems. You'll learn about the importance of correlation IDs and how to capture and forward them through HTTP requests, SNS messages, and Kinesis events, and recording them in your logs. You'll learn how to manage configuration in a way that can scale with your architecture and how to keep sensitive data such as API keys and credentials secure. You'll learn how to give your Lambda functions access to VPCs, when you should do it, and more importantly, why you shouldn't. I'll show you how to secure your application against common OWASP top 10 attacks and some leading practices for Lambda, API Gateway, and Kinesis. Finally, I'll show you how to do canary deployments with Lambda in order to minimize the risk of deployments and the impact of a bad deployment to our users. To get the most out of this course, you should have a basic understanding of the web and HTTP and have experience working with traditional web development frameworks. Whilst the course is focused on AWS Lambda, we will be touching on a number of other AWS services such as S3, SNS, DynamoDB, and Kinesis Streams. You don't need to be an expert on all of these services, but you should be familiar with what they are and the basic concepts around them. For example, you should be familiar with the concepts of hash and range keys in DynamoDB, as well as how DynamoDB scales with read and write throughput units. And you should be familiar with the concept of shards and streams in Kinesis Streams as well. You should also be familiar with the permission model of AWS services, specifically IAM roles, actions, and resources, how they work, and how to create new roles and permissions. And since this course is focused on the operational aspects of AWS Lambda, so before taking this course, you should at least know what a Lambda function is, although we will cover many of the basics of AWS Lambda in the next module. The ideas you will learn in this course are language agnostic, but as we will be using Node.js to demonstrate those ideas, you will also need to have basic understanding of JavaScript and Node.js. You don't need to be an expert at either, but you do need to be familiar with JavaScript syntax, how to work with variables, loops, conditional branches, modules, and how to add and remove dependencies using NPM. You should also be familiar with the concept of continuous integration and continuous delivery, or CI/CD. Have used a CI/CD pipeline before. Finally, you should have experience with writing automated tests. To follow along with the demo and exercises, you need an AWS account as well as a GitHub account. You also need to install Node.js, NPM, and the Serverless framework, which you can install by going to www.serverless.com and follow the instructions there. And in terms of IDE, I'll be using Visual Studio Code in all of my demos. So if you want to follow along exactly as I do, then you can install Visual Studio Code for free at code.visualstudio.com. In the next module, I'm going to show you the basics of AWS Lambda and help you familiarize yourself with the Lambda Management Console and how to create and manage Lambda functions right there from the console.